Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for March 15th. March 15th, the infamous Ides of March, is the 74th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 75th in leap years, with 291 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is not just a word, but more of a phrase, the Ides of March. You might have heard the term in relation to the assassination of Julius Caesar on the 15th of March, marking the Ides of March as a turning point in Roman history. So it's easy to think then that Ides means the 15th of the month, or that it represents the number 15, but that isn't entirely accurate, so let's delve into it a bit. The Romans didn't quite number each day from the first to last like we do now. Instead, they counted back from 3 fixed points of the month. You had the nones, which was the 8 days before the Ides, usually falling on the 5th or the 7th of the month. And then you had the Ides, which actually usually fell on the 13th of each month, except for the months of March, May, July, and October. And then the Calends, which was the first of the month, and where we get the word calendar. Back in the early days of calendar keeping, in the early Roman calendar, the Ides were supposed to be determined by the full moon, correlating to the lunar origin of the Roman calendar. And in the earliest days of calendar keeping, the Ides of March will have been the first full moon of the year. And while the Romans used this way of creating their calendars, marking the first of the month, the calends, and then counting back, the Greeks did not. So the Romans had a colloquial expression, an idiom of improbability that they liked to use, until the Greek calends, as a way of saying, yeah, that's never going to happen. Sort of like the modern day expression, when pigs fly. Back to the Ides of March, though. We know when March is, and the Ides is generally considered to be the middle day of a Roman month. So this is another case of the concept being much older than historical documentation of it, such that the first known use of the word is in the 1100s, Ides of March. And with that, Maine was admitted as the 23rd U.S. state on March 15, 1820. Maine was admitted as a free state as a result of the Missouri Compromise. Maine is the easternmost state in the United States, is the largest state in the region known as New England, and is the 12th smallest state overall, 9th least populated, 13th least densely populated, and the most rural. Augusta is Maine's capital, and Portland is Maine's largest city. The area comprising the state of Maine and the area around it has been inhabited by humans for thousands of years. It's thought that the Vikings very likely interacted with the Penobscot tribe as long ago as the 1200s. The first English settlement that tried to settle there back in the first decade of the 1600s had a hard time making a go of it due to the difficult climate and conflicts with the local indigenous people. Maine is known for its rocky, jagged Atlantic coastline, its mountains and forests. In fact, Maine's nicknames are the Pine Tree State, the Lumber State, and Vacation Land. Its motto is a Latin word that means, I lead, I guide, or I direct. And Maine's slogan is, the way life should be. Maine's state bird is the black-capped chickadee. The state flower is the white pine-coned end tassel, and the state tree is the white pine. Honeybee is the state insect, the state mammal is the moose. In addition, Maine is known for its wild, low-bush blueberries and lobster. And if you've ever heard of a Maine Coon cat, you can certainly thank Maine for that. A great big sweet cat with tufted ears and paws and a tiny voice that belies their size. Oh, and Maine's gemstone is the tourmaline. Isn't that pretty? And if you're ever up that way, consider visiting the Acadia National Park near Bar Harbor. For sure and true, there's plenty of beautiful, rugged nature to see up there in Maine. Happy Statehood Day, Maine. This is the birthday of Cooder, born March 15, 1947 in Los Angeles, California. He's a singer and songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, best known for his slide guitar work. Over the course of his career, he's composed film scores, produced records, and collaborated with musicians all over the world, playing with such folks as John Lee Hooker, Taj Mahal, Gordon Lightfoot, Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones, Van Morrison, Neil Young, Randy Newman, Linda Ronstadt, the Doobie Brothers, and Warren Zevon, just to name a few. Ry is a shortened form of his first name, Ryland. Ryland Peter Cooder is his full name. He began playing guitar when he was 3. He suffered an eye injury when he was 4 that caused him to lose that eye, and he has a glass eye on that one side ever since. He's been playing professionally since the 1960s, and once he'd played the banjo, he applied the technique from the banjo to his guitar playing. He's won a load of Grammy Awards, 2 honorary doctorates, a BBC Radio 2 Folk Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Monterey International Jazz Festival Spirit Award. I counted 17 solo albums, 4 compilation albums, some singles, and dozens of collaborations, soundtracks, and sets as a session musician. He also wrote a short story collection called Los Angeles Stories, published in 2011. Still alive and still working, Ry Cooder. Today's song is Billy the Kid by Ry Cooder. This is a traditional cowboy ballad arranged by Ry Cooder. It appears on his second studio album, Into the Purple Valley, released in January of 1972. Billy the Kid. You ought to give it a listen. There is a link in the description. Today's quote is from the philosopher Socrates. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That playlist lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page. It's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.